And that's where I definitely was shocked time and time again. It's like this bike is an enigma. At one point, you feel like, oh wow, this bike is like super poppy and playful. Will it be enough on like high-speed rock gardens? You go into the high-speed rock gardens and the bike just ends up being insanely stable. What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hopefully everyone's having an amazing day. And if you clicked on this video, yes, I am selling my Ripmo. It's finally come time to part ways with one of my favorite bikes. This thing has been incredible. I saw a lot of comments on the Specialized review video talking about why didn't you compare it to the Ripmo, or they want more comments on the Ripmo, they want more reviews on the Ripmo. I personally feel like we had done so many Ripmo reviews that I thought you guys would just kind of be bored of it. It did seem like there was a lot more interest in what I thought about the Ibis Ripmo. So I figured we would do one last long-term video before I do sell this thing. It's been that bike that I've had this love-hate relationship with, and it's taken me a while to fully understand what it is, who it's for, and yeah, overall just what type of bike the Ibis Ripmo is. Now, before we get into the review, as with all of our Ibis reviews, if you're ever in the market for an Ibis bike, definitely consider hitting up our buddy Sean at N+1 Bikes a call. It's a bike shop in Louisville, Kentucky. His customer service is second to none. And the cool thing is he does take care of friends of the channel. So just let him know that we sent you and he will dial you in and get you on your Ibis dream bike. We do ride for Ibis cyclists, so do understand that there is a little bit of a bias there. But with that being said, we try to keep things as honest as possible on this channel. If that's not enough, there's a lot of other really good reviews out there, especially by our buddy Jason at MTB Yum Yum. He's got some good reviews out there. So yeah, definitely scour the internet, but we're gonna try and be as honest as possible in this review. And the last thing before we get into this video, we do have to thank today's video sponsor, and that is Club Ride Apparel. And these guys just sent over a ton of winter items. I'm super stoked. We've been working with Club Ride Apparel throughout the year, and their stuff is just continuously getting better. And we also have a coupon code for you guys. It's a 20% off link. We'll put that in the description, but let's check some of the stuff they sent over. The first thing they sent over is the new Griffin flannel. I'm really excited for this thing because it's gonna be perfect in the mornings, I feel like. And yeah, this thing, how do I look? I feel like I look pretty good in it.
Kind of camoed.
I like it. And it looks like they sent over another Griffin flannel. We won't take this one all the way out, but you guys can tell that's that cool blue color. So excited for this one too. This is the Blaze vest. And look at this green color. I don't know, I know that vests are supposed to be for like older men that are retired, but I really like vests.
Looks like you're ready for a safari.
Looks like I'm ready for a safari. I really like riding with vests. Yeah, this thing is freaking perfect. Last but not least, we have the, what are they calling this thing? This is their new jacket. I'll tell you guys which one in a second. The track stand jacket. I am really excited for this. You can never have too many jackets. The material feels awesome. I like that the zipper goes all the way up to keep the wind out. And yeah, oh man, this thing, it looks super warm. Oh yeah, Hannah's gonna steal this one for sure. Not only is the fit on this thing perfect, but it is so soft inside. Shout out Club Ride Apparel. Thank you so much for sponsoring this video. And yeah, let's get back to the review. All right, so now let's break down my long-term review of the Ibis Ripmo. Now, I figured I'd give you guys a little bit of reference on my build. I went with the extra large frame. I'm about 6'2", and this thing fits me perfectly. I went with a DVO Onyx fork with 160 mils of travel. I love the Onyx, plenty stiff, and yeah, we love working with DVO suspension. We do ride for them. I have the DPO Topaz in the rear. I really like air shocks over coil, but that's just me because I really do love climbing. I went with an Industry 9 A35 stem. Love these stems, made in the USA, and I love the anodized colors, so yeah, always like going with them. Got some Ibis 935S carbon rims laced to Industry 9 Hydra hubs. This is kind of my go-to wheel set as of lately, and I don't know, I just love the colors. I did end up going with silver spokes, and I think they just added a really nice touch. For a drivetrain, I'm going with a SRAM AXS setup, and I went with the X01, even though there's no real difference between the X01 and XX1 for AXS. It's just kind of marketing, I guess. And yeah, I really do like how blinged out this drivetrain is, but yeah, the simplicity is nice too. Got the PNW dropper post on there with a woman's Specialized saddle. You guys know me, that's my go-to woman's saddle that I love running. And yeah, I got the P&W loam lever attached to that dropper post and P&W loam grips as well. So love this setup. Now let's start off with climbing. So for climbing, it's gonna be expected that Ibis bikes pedal well. After all, they are Ibises. They do have DW Link suspension designs, and their bikes have always been known to be some of the more pedaling efficient bikes on the market. And that's no different with the Ibis Ripmo. So in terms of climbing, what I felt was the efficiency is there both in and out of the saddle. That's something that's important to me. I like to climb both in and out of the saddle. So when my legs start to get a little bit tired, I want to kind of move things around. I'll stand up and I'll be pedaling out of the saddle. And the cool thing with the Ripmo is you can pedal out of the saddle and not feel too much bob. The efficiency is there in terms of seated efficiency. Like if you're just going to sit and make your way to the top of the climb, that's also there as well. So you don't feel too much momentum loss to suspension bob. And yeah, overall a very efficient ride both in and out of the saddle, but I do think that is to be expected at this point with Ibis Cycles mountain bikes. Another really thing I like about this bike is you do feel pretty on top of that bottom bracket, and that's something that I always iterate a lot in the reviews, primarily because I am someone with longer legs, so I have a higher saddle height. Hannah also has a higher saddle height, and anytime you do have that higher saddle height, you're going to be affected by seat angles a little bit more so than someone with a lower saddle height. That's because it's kind of putting you even further behind the bottom bracket. You don't feel that with the Ripmo. You feel on top of the bottom bracket, and overall, like I mentioned, it's a very efficient feel. You feel like all of that power you're putting down is translated to forward momentum. Now, in terms of downhill, so downhill is where I feel like a lot of people really care about reviews. I don't know, for me, I still enjoy the climbing, but in terms of the downhill performance, the Ripmo is a pretty insane bike. I don't feel like the Ripmo is too aggressive. I feel like a lot of bikes nowadays are tending to go like on those really slacked out head angles, really long chain stays. I don't feel like that's where the Ripmo is heading, and I do appreciate that with this bike. I feel like it's a very conservative geometry. I feel like it retains that playful nature, but at the same time, it still has that aggressive nature to where you can kind of plow through a trail and stay composed, but still pop and play your way down a trail. I feel like that's something that Ibis bikes will always be known for. In terms of high-speed stability, as you start to go faster, yes, this bike still retains that composure. Maybe not as much as a bike with a longer chainstay and more travel, but it's one of those things that unless you're going to be riding full-on bike park 7 days a week, I don't think this bike is going to hold you back. If anything, it's going to lead to an even more fun time on your local all-mountain tracks. You're still going to be able to play around on the trail, but at the same time, stay nice and safe and also stay in control. So that's something that I really do appreciate about the Ibis Ripmo. And that's where I definitely was shocked time and time again. It's like this bike is an enigma. At one point, you feel like, oh wow, this bike is like super poppy and playful. Will it be enough on like high-speed rock gardens? You go into the high-speed rock gardens and the bike just ends up being insanely stable, especially when you know where to ride the bike. It's like going back to that thing I was saying about climbing. It's kind of like adjusting your body weight. This bike, I feel like, has a really unique sweet spot, and there's bikes where you can kind of hop on them and they kind of feel at home right off the get-go. I feel like this bike, that blend of high-speed stability and playfulness just requires you to kind of learn how to ride this bike, spend a few extra days. There's a little bit of a learning curve trying to learn where you should shift your body weight and plant yourself while riding this bike downhill. But as soon as you figure that out, man, this ride isn't similar to any other bike I've ridden. And yeah, overall, very blown away by how well the Ibis Ripmo performs downhill and also uphill as well. So yeah, so we've covered the climbing, we've covered the downhill. Now we're going to get into the question that a lot of people probably have is, who is this bike for? Is it still worth buying in 2021, almost 2022, literally in 2 weeks, almost 2022? And yeah, who do I think the Ibis Ripmo is for? Now, Ibis makes a lot of really good bikes, and as you guys probably know, the Ibis Ripley is my personal favorite. So when it came time to sell the Ripley and go to the Ripmo, there was a while where I was probably second guessing myself, especially when we were traveling a little bit more on the East Coast, when we were in Florida, when we were on trails that I didn't feel like required as much bike as the Ripmo, I definitely felt like I preferred the Ripley. Now, when we went to trails like La Milagrosa, when we were riding steeper trails back here in SoCal, that's where I was like, oh no, you know, the Ripmo is definitely the bike of choice there. And I feel like this is going to be a really interesting question. A lot of people are probably going to have to demo to figure that out. With that being said, I'll try to help out a little bit. I feel like if you're that type of rider that you're okay sacrificing a little bit of efficiency on climbs, like say you don't necessarily need to be the first one up, and you're okay just kind of pacing yourself to the top, but at the same time you want to have as much fun down the biggest smile, the Ripmo is going to be that bike. I feel like it's the perfect bike for that rider that wants to ride downhill style trails, but at the same time still feel like they're riding a trail bike or a mountain bike. You could still have a playful, fun time on this thing, but it's going to keep you safe and make your way to the bottom, if not be the first one to the bottom as well. Because there's going to be certain trails where having a bike with a little bit more pop and playfulness feel might actually benefit you a little bit more so. And if you're that racer style rider, this bike is the perfect bike for you. I feel like it's just enough of everything, just enough head angle, just enough travel. And yeah, overall, I feel like the race nature is apparent in this frame, but at the same time, it still retains that playful nature you would want from a trail bike. Now, if you're that rider that you're okay sacrificing a little bit when it comes time for the downhills, but you want to be the first one to the top, I feel like the Ibis Ripley is a strong contender there. Personally, you guys know me, I love the Ibis Ripley, and I just feel like that has just enough travel for me to get me out of trouble, but at the same time, it's so fast uphill. It is apparent how much faster I feel like the Ripley is than the Ripmo on climbs, but when it comes time to descents, it is apparent how much more stable the Ripmo is than the Ripley. So that's going to be one of those, man, which bike do you get? Is it the N+1 bike phenomenon where the correct number of bikes to own is N+1? I think it's going to be a personal decision that you're going to have to make. I personally say if I needed a one bike quiver, I could only have one bike, I probably would pick the Ripley over the Ripmo. That's just a personal decision that I would make there. Now, with that being said, if I lived near downhill style tracks, like I lived somewhere very aggressive year round, I would definitely probably be picking the Ripmo there. But yeah, overall, I feel like it's really tough to go wrong. I feel like both bikes can also be adapted to kind of fill that void there as well. You can build the Ripmo up very light, and you can also build the Ripley up very aggressive. Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting choice there, but the cool thing is there's so many demo opportunities with bike festivals back, and also, yeah, it looks like inventory is starting to become a little bit better. Like we mentioned, if you guys give our buddy Sean at N+1 Bikes a call, I think he's fully stocked on everything at this point. And yeah, that's my personal 2 cents again on the Ibis Ripmo. Hopefully that helped clear the air for some of you. And if I didn't answer any of your questions, let us know in the comment section. I will try to get back to you. And yeah, hopefully you found this video informative. If you can hit that like button, that would be awesome. And we'll catch you in the next review. Who knows what's my next bike? Let me know in the comment section. Ew.